morning students, welcome to the session on operating system. In our previous lecture we have seen the introduction to deadlocks. What is the deadlock? Deadlock is a situation where you people will be keep on waiting for some event to occur, or else if you are waiting for some process to complete, then if you are not getting chance to execute by yourself, then that is nothing but you are in deadlock situation. Simply I can say, if you are waiting for some resource, okay, which is not available, or else if it is acquired by some other processes, then you people will be leading to deadlock situations. Okay, and we have seen the conditions in which we will be having the deadlock situations, that is mutual exclusion, hold and wait, and no preemption, circular. Okay, in a single sentence I will be telling you people what is the mutual exclusion. It is a process where you people will be giving the resources to a single process. After the completion of that particular process only, you people will be giving the resources to other processes. In hold and wait, we people can observe one thing. Some processes will be holding some resources and it will be requesting for some other resources which will be held by some other processes, and they will be keep on waiting. Okay, in order to complete them, they won't release and they will be keep on waiting. Okay, no preemption means whenever a huge program, whenever a process which will be acquiring the resources will be continuing its execution until or unless it completes its execution, the resources will not be given to other processes. Okay, and circular wait, when you are waiting for someone to come and if you are not going, they won't come, like that. Okay, we will be having a circle wait. I can say P1 is waiting for P2 and P2 is in turn waiting for P1. Then this is nothing but your circular wait. We have seen examples also, but in our today's session we are going to discuss the methods of handling the deadlocks. Okay, simply I can say deadlock prevention. One of the method where we will be restricting the deadlock is your deadlock prevention. Now try to understand the term called prevention. Deadlock prevention means placing the restrictions at the resource request so that the deadlock cannot occur. Okay, before occurring the deadlock only, we will be putting some restriction towards our resources so that the deadlock will not occur into our system. Okay, in that we are having 4 conditions in which we will be getting the deadlock situations. Okay, what the deadlock prevention will say is, try to avoid all the 4 kind of conditions in which you are having the deadlock, or else try to solve at least one problem from those particular conditions. So what are those conditions and how we will be solving them, just you see. Okay, in that the first one that we are having is mutual exclusion. Already I told you people, mutual exclusion is nothing but allowing only one process in order to acquire the resource and in order to get the execution. Okay, not required for shareable resources, must hold for non-shareable resources only. What it is saying is, say consider if you are having a database, if you are having a data which is read by number of users, then there is no problem. Why? Because everyone can read the same data. But if you are writing, then we will be getting the problem. No? Then those kind of shareable resources will be given to every process that are executing in your system. Okay, you must make resources shareable so that the deadlock will not occur. They will be not waiting for the resources if the resources are shareable. Say suppose example, P1 is waiting for R1, P1 is requesting for R1. R1 is a shareable resource. So consider if it is a shareable, then P2 is also a process which is requesting for R1. If it is shareable, then P2 can also request for R1 and R1 can be assigned with P1 and R1 can be given to your P2 also. Then there is no problem. We will be avoiding the mutual exclusion. We will be overcoming the problem of mutual exclusion. We will be giving the shareable resource to each and every process. We will be executing them. But in some cases, mutual exclusion should be followed in order to attain the good result, I can say. Okay, for example, non-shareable resource is one of your printers. Printer cannot be shared by number of processes. If you are giving one print, other process should wait until or unless the first print has completed. Okay, if you are making this printer shareable, then your output will not be the correct one, I can say. Okay, here the printer is a non-shareable one. If one program is using the printer, then other programs must wait for the printer. This waiting may lead to indefinite waiting, I can say, where you will be calling that as a deadlock. But this non-shareable resource, that is printer, will not be made as a shareable resource. If you are making them shareable also, then you will be not getting the good results. Sometimes some resources can be made shareable, some resources cannot be made as a shareable resources, I can say. If you are making the resources in a shareable manner, then we will be avoiding the deadlocks. Okay. And the second one that we are having is hold and wait. So in this, must guarantee that whenever a process requests a resource, it does not hold any other resources. Means to say that already I told you people, in hold and wait, if P1 is already having, P1 is assigned with R1 and P1 is also requesting for R2, then it should not be done. That is what it is saying. Okay. This is what the hold and wait situation. If P1 is already having some resource, if it is requesting for some other resources which is given to some P2, okay, it keeps on waiting. Why? Because P2 has to complete in order to give R2. Okay, this should not happen in case of your hold and wait, so that we will be not getting any deadlocks. That is what they are saying. It does not hold any other resources. If P1 is requesting R2 no, then you should not be given with R1. R1 should be released, so that R1 and R2 both can be given to your P1, I can say. You may be having two kind of situations over here. Just try to understand. So consider, for example, if P1 and P2 are two processes, P1 is given with R1 and P2 is given with R2. And there is one more resource called R3. Okay, these are the resources and these are the processes. Okay, now they are assigned with R1 and R2 and they are requesting for R3. Okay, P1 is also requesting for R3. But this is what they are saying. Whenever a process is requesting for the resource, it should not hold any other resource. R1 is already having with P1, then it should not happen in this case. So that you will be not getting any deadlock. Why? Because if he is requesting for R3, he will be holding what? R1. Some other process will keep on waiting for R1. In that situation, we will be not having this option called requesting for the resource after holding some resources. Okay. Require processes to request and be allocated all its resources before it begins the execution, or allow the processes to request a resource only when the process has none. So consider if there is a P3. P3 is also a process and it is requesting for R3. See, P1 is also requesting and P3 is also requesting. Then P3 will be given with R3 resource. Why? Because it is not having any resource. Whenever you are requesting, you should not have any resource. Okay, if you are requesting, if you are holding resource with you people, then resources will not be given to you people. First, you need to release those resources. In this particular case, what I will do is, before the execution, I won't assign R1, R2, R3. Before the execution only, as the P1 is requesting for R1 and R2, R1 and R2 both will R1 and R3 both will be given to your P1 at a time in order to execute. If already R1 is assigned and if it is requesting for R3, then I will be releasing R1 also and I will be requesting for both R1 and R3. Then I will not having any deadlocks. That is what they are saying in this. Okay, if you are having any resources with you people, if you are requesting for some other resources, then you need to release the resources from you and you need to acquire all the resources at once in order to get executed. Okay, that is what this point will say, so that we will be not having any starvation. Okay, low resource utilization, starvation possible. Okay, why? Because see, already R1 is available, then again it need to release the R1 and again they need to request for R1, R3 again. Like this, it need to wait for a long period. That is what the starvation is possible that they are saying in this particular hold and wait case. Okay, and we are having two more conditions that has to be prevented. Okay, in order to prevent your mutual exclusion, what you are doing, you are making the resources in a shareable manner. In order to avoid the hold and wait before the execution starts, okay, you people will be releasing all the resources from your processes, and you people will be requesting all the resources at once, and you people will be taking all those resources in order to complete the task. Okay, and then the next one is no preemption, or else simply I can say non-preempted processes. I can say if a process that is holding some resources requests another resources that cannot be immediately allocated to it, then all the resources currently being held are released. That is what the case that we have seen in previous session. That first of all, you need to understand what is the preemption. Preemption is nothing but disturbing the processes. P1, P2, P3 are the processes. If P1 is executing, if it is requesting for some resources, okay, then I need to preempt this and I need to release these particular resources. That is what the first point it is saying. Preempted resources are added to the list of resources for which the process is waiting. Say suppose this R is say R1, R2, R3. These are the resources, and if P1 is requesting for R1 and R1 is already allocated with P, then if it is requesting R2 which is assigned with P2, then it need to release R1 also, so that it will be not having any resources with it, and then at once it will be asking for R1 and R2. Okay, like that it is doing, and by force we will be preempting the processes in order to get its execution, in order to not have any deadlocks. Preempted resources are added to the list of resources. Okay, and processes will be restarted only when it regains its old resources as well as the new ones that is requesting. By force we will be stopping the processes, we will be putting them in the waiting queue, and all the resources that are requested for your processes, if they are available, then they will be getting its turn to execute by your CPU. Until or unless we will be not executing those particular processes, we will be preempting them and we will be allocating them to the next processes, I can say. Okay, for example, one of the examples that are available in your material is if a car is parked in a small area, if in order to get into that particular area you need to remove those particular cars that are available already. Okay, then you can enter into that particular area, you can park the bikes. Okay, in the same way, when you are having P1, P2, P3 processes, okay, if they are requesting for some other resources, and even after having some resource, then you need to remove all those resources by forcefully, and that has to be given to some processes. It will be getting executed by your processor. Okay, and see, the last problem is your circularity. In our case, we have already discussed that if P1 is a process and P2 is a process, and R1 is given to, R1 is resource now, then R1 is given to P1 and P2 is asking for R1, and P1 is requesting for R2, but it has been given to P2. See, this is a circular. P1 is waiting for P2, P2 is waiting for P1. Why? Because after the completion of it, they will be releasing the resources and they can execute. Okay, in order to not happen this, what we will do is, for every resource we will be giving some integer number. Say consider printer is given with 1 number and scanner is given with 2 number. If speaker is given with 3 number, then if P1 is requesting for 1 and P2 is requesting for 3 and P4 and requesting for 2, but these two are given with your processes, until or unless P1 and P2 complete its execution, P4 cannot request for 2. You need to request the resources which are having the highest number. by giving the numbers, impose a total order of all the resource type and require that each process requires the resources in an increasing order only. If you are requesting 1 and 3, you should not ask for 2. You should ask for 4, 5, 6 like that. Okay. In this way, we will be stopping the circular bit. Say suppose R1 is given with 1, R2 is given with 2. If P1 is already having 1, it can request for 2. Okay, if P2 is already having 2, then it should not request for what? 1. So that it will stop its execution and R2 will be given to P1 so that it can execute its process. Like this, we will be avoiding, we will be preventing, we will be, before entering into your deadlocks, we will be putting some restriction towards your resources, I can say, as we have told you in the beginning of this section. Okay, I hope it is clear to you people. Okay, this is what the deadlock prevention is. In our upcoming lecture, we will see deadlock avoidance as well as we'll be seeing deadlock detection. Okay, so that you people will be having a clear idea how we will be detecting, how we will be preventing, how we will be avoiding. These are the methods, I can say. Okay, I hope it is clear. That's it for now. See you in the next one. Thank you.